Okay, so we're going to prune this buddleia. The best time to do that is late winter, early spring. What we want to do is reduce this buddleia down. It hasn't been pruned for a while, so we're going to take out about half of the branches. If you prune your buddleia regular, you can actually cut it very hard, so almost down to the ground, and it will come back fine. But because this hasn't been pruned for a while, we don't want to shock it. The first thing to do is look at the shrub. There's quite a lot growing in the middle, so I'm going to end up taking out quite a lot of the middle growth to allow air through. And then I've got a lot of dead stems, so we want to take those out as well. And then we're going to reduce the whole thing down by about half, and that will be a really good height for flowering next year. So you can see we've got a couple of dead stems here. We're going to start with those and going to investigate and see how far down the deadwood is. So if we cut it, you can see in the middle that it is actually completely brown. So I'm going to keep going, and if I find green, then I'll stop. Otherwise, I'm going to take out the whole branch. So yeah, it appears that it's completely dead, so I'm actually going to take it out with a sword back to the main trunk. So next, we're going to look at the overall shape. I can see there's a lot of twisted, crossing branches, and we want to get rid of those. So we start to look at things that are rubbing. So here we've got a branch growing inwards and also rubbing against another branch. I'm going to take my loppers and we're going to take this one out completely. So as you can see, these branches are very tall, and in the winter when we get storms, the plant can suffer with wind rock, and that can actually kill the plant. So that's when the roots kind of separate from the soil and the plant either rots or falls over. This stem here in the middle, I'm going to take it right down, and it's going to allow a lot more air through the plant. So let's do that now with a saw. So we've got a good framework appearing now. We want an open goblet shape, and we're going to reduce the height of this branch. And you can see here the new leaves. Those will produce the next shoots that will flower in the summer. So we're going to reduce the stem down to those new leaves. Some more deadwood here. I think looking at it, this whole branch is actually dead, and you can test that. If you scratch the bark off, if it's not green underneath, then we know it's dead. If it appears brown, we need to cut it off. So yeah, very brown, very soft. You can see there that the stem is completely dead. So we're going to saw that one down to the base. Now this branch is very tall, and like I said earlier, this is going to rock in any stormy winds. So we want to reduce the height of this, again back to some leaf. I'm actually going to take this whole thing off to give it a better shape. This one is very spindly, so we want to reduce the height of this to make it bush out a bit more. So I'm going to cut that by half. So here we've got quite a nice strong stem. It's quite branched at the top, but I'm going to bring the height down back to these buds. That will produce nice flowering material for next year. Well, this one is growing inwards towards the center of the plant. We don't really want that, so I'm going to take that out. So looking at this stem, I'm just going to reduce the height of it slightly more. There's a nice new stem here, and that will take over this year and flower really nicely. So let's take this off. So you can see down here, there's actually a stem that's torn, and we're going to take it off because it could potentially be a site for infection or fungus to get in to the plant. But you could also leave those spots, because sometimes small insects, invertebrates like to live in there, and it could create a nice habitat home for them. So it's really your choice, but we're going to cut it back today. And we're going to cut this old stem back as well. I'm just going to reduce these tips slightly more. A few more dead wispy bits down here. So there we have it. I think that's a good shape to go with now. It's nice and open. We've reduced the height of it so it won't suffer wind rock. It's going to look great this year. It's going to be full of flower, covered in bees and butterflies, and I cannot wait to see it.